Hey ladies, hope all is well. Welcome in. Thank you for tuning in to my channel, Be Soleil Botanics. I grew my following on Instagram, and here I am now on YouTube. I also have a TikTok. I was on there, then I stopped, and now I'm back on there. TikTok is definitely a vibe right now for me, at least during this time of my building and rebuilding, and just staying focused, and bringing the information, bringing the knowledge to you. Anywho, my name is Bianca. I am a womb practitioner, and I help women. Pretty much, ultimately, I help women care for their wombs. I help women care for their wombs postpartum, post miscarriage, post abortion, post womb loss, post spiritual loss, like a divorce, like a relocation far away from home, like a death in the family, and you having to experience that affects the womb, believe it or not. That affects the heart. And so this is the work that I do. I do the work of the heart healing and the work of the womb healing. And I do this utilizing herbs as well as sacred rituals. Okay, so let's get into it. Based off of the video that I dropped on TikTok, it had one of the most views that I've had in overall, right, in its totality. I ran the numbers and saw that it had the most action, and it had the most people commenting and asking questions. So I'm like, okay, how can I do something, right? How can I break this down more? So here I am about to teach y'all. So we are in a teaching session, and boom. I did have to bring the flip paper. I had to bring the little flip board. All right. So let's see if we're going to stand tall for this. I may have to, kind of like rise it up. That's fine. And it's not heavy. So this is how we're going to do it today. Okay. And yeah. So basically the video that did the very best is the video that had to do with papaya seeds and how to not get pregnant, how to avoid pregnancy, how to bring your period post intercourse, sexual intercourse, after ovulation, as well as during high fertility days. But the video wasn't like that broken down. So today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to break down the information for you so you can know when to take it, why you're taking it. All right. Pretty much what you want to get accustomed to is your menstrual cycle. You want to learn your cycle. You also want to get acclimated with the days that you're ovulating and how your discharge is looking, and as well as apps. There's apps now that are so user-friendly that help you track the days that you are ovulating and the days that you have high chances of fertility. I say utilize these apps. I personally use, I will name them in the video. So let's go. In the video. We're in the video already. So I'm going to name them afterwards, right? I just want to get started, right? Off of an example of a menstrual cycle. So we have the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and the 1st, right? These are the days of your menstrual bleed. Okay, not your cycle in its totality. The cycle is almost an invisible happening, right? It's a cyclical happening, and you're not always bleeding, but your womb is always doing things, whether it's shedding or rebuilding, whether it's giving you lots of energy or taking away some of your energy. That's why you're going to sense that you have high energy a little bit more during different times of the month, maybe after ovulation. And then certain times of the month, you're going to feel like you have a low energy and you need to sleep and you need to rest and recalibrate. That's all a part of your cycle. We are such cyclical beings, and we have become so disconnected. The patriarchy has done a number on us because, we don't even want to have the apps, but yet we don't even know our wombs and our cycles per se. We don't know when exactly we are ovulating. And so there's a disconnection with us and our wombs, and with the knowledge that we have in our wombs. And it's done on purpose, y'all. So we gotta do better. So I mean, I'm talking about papaya seeds today because I'm talking about nature. Ultimately, we have to go back to nature to heal our wombs, to reconnect with our wombs, right? And if you have birth control, then that's your lane. But I'm here to, spread the knowledge that there's other ways to prevent pregnancy by knowing your cycle. Okay, it's know thyself. That's the most empowering thing that a woman can do. And it's honestly most of the scariest thing that a woman can do as well, because, there will be people that do not like when you stand up for yourself, that you know your body, that you love yourself, right? And so that's good too, because this reveals people's essence, the truth of people, the ones on your corner and the ones that are not. Know your womb is very empowering. Know yourself, love yourself, know your heart, right? Balance your nervous system, control your emotions. One of the most powerful things that women can do are these things: is know your womb, understand your womb, cleanse your womb monthly, make it a routine, a habit, a lifestyle. It will change your world, all right? Because when you heal your womb, you are simultaneously healing your heart. You will have to do heart work because it will call you to do more work, deep inner work. Mother wounds, father wounds, they're going to have to come to the surface when you start doing that womb work. So we'll get into it, but we have these 5 days, a healthy cycle. We're talking about a healthy cycle. That 5th day is most likely not even that much blood, but we note that in the app. The app is now going to tell you, and also your body will tell you, that nothing's really happening, right? You're going to see that you're probably more dry on these days, meaning your vaginal juices are probably not as, they're not secreting as much, right? Because these days you have low fertility. The human body is built to have a child only once, to have the possibility of getting pregnant and have a child only once a month. The high chances of fertility surrounding the day that you ovulate, I'm going to talk about that. But listen up. These 3 days after your cycle, what's happening is you have low fertility rate. You have a low chances of getting pregnant. Okay? This is your safe zone. I advise in the safe zone to do womb steams. Okay? To do womb steams and cleanse all of this blood out. Cleanse your uterine lining. I say, tend to yourself, because you just went through a lot. You just went through some shedding. You just went through some cleansing, some detoxification. You're exhausted. You need some energy. You need to do a womb steam around this time. Highly recommended. If you don't know about a womb steam, let me know in the comment bar, and then I can teach about that next. Now, after that, now you are in... boom, boom, boom. Okay, now we talking. We are in day, because this is day 2, 3, and 4. You're pretty much clear here. If you do have sexual relations within this day, you're pretty much clear. I would still do the papaya seed concoction afterwards, because if you fall on day 4 and then sperm doesn't die in the womb, it takes 12 to 24 hours. So now you're falling into the days where you have high fertility. So either way, you want to do something, right? You want to do, and I say do the most prominent and the most potent regimen, okay, ritual that you can, which is the papaya seeds recipe that I'm going to share with you. Days 5, 6, 7, and 8, your chances of fertility are high. These are 4 days after the 3 days that you're under the low fertility category. Okay? These are the days that you have maybe a 50-50 chance of getting pregnant. But the ovulation day, don't have sex on that day. Do not have sexual intercourse on that day, because your chances, your probability is way higher, maybe 95%. Okay, you don't want to risk it. So just X that day out completely. All right. So that's that. That's part 1. Let that marinate and simmer for a little bit. Take notes if you need to. Get the app and download the app right now. Okay. So basically, here we are at low fertility chance, low chance of getting pregnant. That is July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, which is 3 days after your menstrual bleed. Okay? Now that we're here and we understand that that's 3 days, when you count 4, 5, 6, 7 days, altogether you have a total of 7 days, like a 7-day window of choosing or choosing not to have sexual intercourse with, again, someone that you love. You are in a loving relationship, a solid relationship where this person is not a dusty and brings life into, or brings more of abundance to your life. This is what I'm talking about, right? This is not what I want you to know for someone. This is what I want you to learn for your body, for your own personal power and empowerment. Not for you to utilize it or use it as leverage for just love making and giving your body off, right, as an offering. No. Okay, this is about ritual, this is about sacredness, and this is about womb wellness and womb healing and healing ancestral traumas, right? This is because you know thyself, know your womb, know your body. It's very empowering. All right, so now that we're here and we got that clear, okay, we are at day 7 days in total, right? Remember, top 3, low fertility. Down here, high fertility. You have July 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You're under that high fertility category. So you are going to go into the store these days, or you have already went to the store in this time frame to go get your papaya. Your papaya is not going to be super soft and ripe. You don't want it very sweet. You want it where you can slice through it, but it's new, right? It still has some sturdiness to it, because those seeds are the most potent seeds to trigger your menstrual cycle. So now that you know this, right? It's said, like, if you look it up and you do a little bit of some Google research, it'll say it'll say 10 to 14 days post your menstrual cycle, post the ending of it, is when you will ovulate. I say, because also you'll if you do your research, you will learn that not every womb is the same, of course, and this is very general, and you can't be that broad and general when it comes to understanding your womb, right? So it can range. It can happen here, right? Ovulation is here, and that's day 8. Okay? But research says, oh, it's supposed to be 10 days or 11 days. And then you're going off of that without knowing your body. And you're also going off of that without monitoring your discharge. That's why we're going to talk about the discharge today. Okay? So we have day 8 where you are ovulating. This means that the probability of you getting pregnant has increased drastically. Maybe you were at 50-50 these days. Now, when you're ovulating, you're at a 95% chance of getting pregnant. And to reiterate, in today's economy, if you already have children and if you already are struggling, you need to take accountability at this point and say, do I want to bring more children into this world when I don't feel like I'm financially ready? I'm going to close my legs, okay? And if I'm in a loving relationship, I'm at least going to have boundaries that pretty much explain to my lover that no, I'm not going to have sex on this day when I ovulate, period. Okay, and then if you want to avoid the high fertility days as well. Although these are the days that the body is primed to want to have sexual intercourse, you have to have some sort of a discipline and almost like a disgusting hatred towards, you know, the possibility of getting pregnant, especially, like I said, again, in today's economy. Life is lifing, right? If you don't have your financial situation, you know, at its peak, right, and it's not flowing, it's not abundant, then you have to be real with yourself, okay, and not lie to yourself and be prepared, right? Let's not bring in more children into this world. And, you know, we're not going to be 100% wholeheartedly, like, top tier maybe ready, but we want to be at least at minimum financially ready. This is for the girlies that are, you know, that are definitely there. They want to do more. They've already had their children. They want to establish their careers. They don't want to miss out. They want to create, like they want to be an entrepreneur. You're going to need time. You're going to need free time. So you might not want to have another child. Now, if you do, then you shouldn't be really on this page, right? If you're on a whole nother level, then this message doesn't resonate. So then, you know, just leave, right? Leave the page. Don't listen to this message. This is not for you. This is for the women that want to intertwine motherhood and still want to retain their not femininity, but retain their sense of autonomy. Okay, especially again in today's society and what's happening now in terms of the economic infrastructure. You know, they're not really paying people what people are worthy of and are deserving of. It's not matching the lifestyle and the cost of living. So anyway, that's my rambling a little bit, but we just have to be real with ourselves and take accountability, because otherwise we will pay the price. Okay, and it's okay, but at least know thyself, at least know your body, understand your womb. Now that we know this, right, we know the day we're ovulating, that's a no. Okay, that's a big X. Now, if the app Flow or Natural Cycles or whatever app that you prefer, I use Flow. I love it. This is not a sponsored message, okay, and a sponsored paid ad or anything like that, but I highly recommend it because it's on point with the tracking my cycle and tracking my discharge and day that I ovulate. Now you know when you are going to ovulate. If it's not, you know, day 8, it's day 9 or day 10, right? Or one of these days coming up close enough to in this realm. Okay, 10 to 14 days after your cycle, your bleed has ended. You are in the clear after 2 days. You're not in the clear, actually. Let's say after you ovulate, you're not in the clear. You have like 2 days where you have high fertility and high probability of getting pregnant. So do what you may, like, you know, do what you do, whatever, but make sure you get them papaya seeds. And then you're clear after that, right? So you got some blue and you're clear to do what you want with your body, okay? Now, let's quickly talk about discharge. There's 2 levels of discharge: high fertility, and then there's also ovulation. High fertility is sticky, thick, white discharge, okay? And I would say that is good to know, because then you know what's coming, right, after that. Because ovulation is stretchy, clear, and it's like raw egg whites, okay? So that discharge is slightly different. Now that you know that and you know your body, I want you to know, or I want you to have the recipe. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons. I have it written here, but I actually know it by head, but like in my head. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of, let's get it, hold on. You're gonna need 2 tablespoons of papaya seeds, 2.5 the most. You're gonna take a palmful, right, or half a palmful of some papaya fruit, and then you're going to add it, and then you're gonna, you know, measure your water. You're gonna take your water and 1 cup. You're gonna take 1 cup of water, half a cup to 1 cup of water, and you're gonna pour it in here. This is 1 cup, right? Then you're gonna blend it. All right, so this is what you need to create your concoction, and you're going to drink this every day. I'm going to pull out the spreadsheet or the tool right here that I've been using all day. I'm gonna pull it out so you can kind of see what days you're going to have to take this. But again, 2 tablespoons, 2.5 tablespoons, a handful, like a half or just a half, because the more you put in of the fruit, right, the orange that you see, the papaya, the more like consistency and the thicker it can get. So you want to just put a little bit so it can be watery, so that you can just gulp it down like water, right? And ideally you want to do this because it's so tart and it tastes really bad. I'm not even gonna lie, it tastes really bad. It's like, ooh. Again, you can I don't know if I mentioned this earlier, but you can use papaya seeds to cleanse your gut and to detoxify parasites out your gut. Why is this important? This is important because your gut sits right above the womb space. I always tell my clients this. And you know, when your gut is healed and light, then your womb is light. Your womb doesn't have pressure of the digestive organs, all that pressure from digestive organs sitting and just putrefying whatever it has to, you know, get rid of. It's just sitting there, and it's pressing up on the womb space, affecting the womb, you know, causing all different types of womb illnesses, okay, as well as womb stagnancies. So that's where a lot of things come from. It's coming from our gut. Issues with our womb, it's coming from our gut. Besides it being spiritual, because I'm definitely that girl. Like, we're going to break down the root cause of certain womb illnesses and womb pains and womb losses, right? Because your womb is supposed to, it's positive. Your womb is always supposed to be at a positive frequency, at a light frequency. It's not supposed to hold negative energy. It can, but what that does is it creates toxicity in your mind, in your body, in your heart. Again, the womb is interconnected with the heart space. So when your womb is hurt, you're hurt. Your heart is hurt. You know, you're probably dealing with some pain, with some sadness, with some grieving, and your womb feels it. When you begin to cleanse, okay, so if you're drinking this, not only are you triggering your menstrual cycle to return, to come, you're also triggering a release and a cleanse. And there's so many herbs you could work with that can, you know, that connect with certain womb illnesses. And we're going to get into that, of course. And, you know, I don't know what topic I'm going to, you know, begin to speak about, because I have a Patreon and I have these deep topics about cyst and how cyst manifest, and spiritually where it's coming and connected to. And, you know, there's also miscarriages connected to so many things, so many frequencies that you, in womb traumas that you don't know that you carry, because for one, it's probably been passed down to you through your mother's womb, through your grandmother's womb, through your mother's womb, and then now you hold this pain, but then also you experience life and maybe some toxicities and traumas with whoever you were mating with, and that stays trapped in the womb. And so now all of these experiencing are encompassing your life, right? Your life story, your womb story. Anyway, the papaya seeds, this is the concoction, and you want to have this concoction because people will, you know, tell me in the comments when I drop this video and it did so well, you know, they'll say, I just had sex, I don't know when to, you know, to take this, or I don't know how much to take. And so that's how much you're going to take, and you're going to do this not necessarily on these 3 days post your cycle where you have low fertility. Okay, you don't necessarily have to do it here, but after that you want to drink it. And and I'm saying you want to drink it if you had sexual intercourse. For one, I would do it regardless. So if you had sexual intercourse within these 3 days of low fertility, what I want you to know is if you end up having it on this night, then you've already gone into day 5, and day 5 is a high fertility day because sperm lives in the womb for 12 to 24 hours. So you need to have already bought your papaya seeds, like I said, and then you need to be drinking it at least 3 times, within the range of, if you're in the realm of high fertility within these days here, and then if you have sexual intercourse during these days, then you need to take it at least, I say 3 days to a whole 5 days, okay? And then you should be okay. Because again, after you ovulate, if you do decide the 2 days post ovulation, which you still have high chances and high probability of getting pregnant, those are high fertility dates, then what you want to do again is have your papaya seeds. But then you're going to have your papaya seeds towards the end. Say if you skipped all of these days up to ovulation and then you ended up having sexual intercourse on day 10 and 11, then you're going to have papaya seeds all week, like 3 times. So you're going to do, so if it's on the 10th, you're going to do 11, 12, 13. And then you can do 14, 15. That's 5 days in a row. That stuff is nasty. So, I'm usually at a good 3 days in a row, nice and strong. And then I'm rubbing my womb with the castor oil concoction that I talked about earlier. And if that did not save, because I did have to run this video back, I had to re-record. It's Haitian black castor oil with rosemary and peppermint, which stimulates the uterine lining to trigger your menstrual cycle to come back. Okay, so women use this concoction, this oil. I have it here, but I'm not gonna get up and go get it. But women use this oil to actually stimulate contractions during birth, but early stages of birth. The doula and the midwife would have to approve it. But because it does that, think about what it does to your womb when you are not pregnant. Okay, it's going to stimulate something to come. It's going to stimulate the uterine lining. Okay, so that your period can come. So again, it's about knowing thyself, knowing the body. This again was a little briefing, teaching ceremony or episode about papaya seeds and how you can use papaya seeds to avoid pregnancy, to pretty much bring your menstrual cycle back. Okay, it's guaranteed because it's so strong, so potent. You just have to use it right. You just have to blend it, and you gotta drink all of it. It's nasty. But do that and you should be good. But also monitor when you are ovulating, because you don't want to have sexual intercourse on the day that you ovulate. The probability is way too high, and them papaya seeds ain't gonna cut it, because the chances are so high in a sense where spiritually, energetically, the child that wants to be born, that just wanted space into the egg, right? The sperm that just wanted space into the egg is like, yeah, you know what I mean? And so it's competition happening in the womb around that time. And it's this because it's the probability. It's like, oh, I know I got this. It's like, okay, so just children, when they want to come out spiritually, energetically, they're gonna come out. Okay, and if it's that day that the Most High says, this is when when the body is it's primed for it to happen, then it's a possibility that it can happen. And you don't want to risk that, right? If you don't want to risk that. Thank you so much for tuning in. we're all set.